What's up guys, XM360 here, and in today's video I'm going to be reviewing another laser pointer for you guys. This one is going to be the 980 nanometer IR infrared 5 milliwatt laser pen. So this one comes from an eBay seller named Laserlands. I've reviewed a couple of his lasers in the past, and it does come from China, so you do have to wait a little bit longer on the shipping. It's only about $10, and I'll put a link down below on where you can get your own. And this is the first laser that I've reviewed that is not visible to the human eye. It is in the IR spectrum. It's above 700 nanometers, so you won't be able to see it. And I'm not too sure on the purposes of these. I wanted to review it, but I'm not really too sure on what you would use it for. The only thing I can think of is that this would be a laser pointer that you could use while you're wearing night vision goggles at night. A laser where only you will be able to see the beam and nobody else. So maybe you're hunting or something and you want to point something out and you're using like a night vision scope and only you will be able to see the beam and no animal or person will be able to see that beam. That's the only thing I can think of. Now the eBay listing does list this as an anti-currency, an anti-fake currency detector. I think some nations have currency where you can use a 980 nanometer laser to detect fake money. If anybody has any information on that, leave a comment down below. I have heard of that, but I don't know a whole lot about it, so I guess that is one other thing you could use this for, if your country does use money that has that. So, there's not a whole lot of purposes to this laser, but I did want to add a 980 nanometer to my collection. This one does not have a focusing feature. It is advertised as 5 milliwatts, and it cannot burn. And I would highly recommend using laser safety glasses, and I'll try to link some down below that are rated for 980 milliwatts. This is the pen right here. It's the classic pen style that you see like all laser pens use. You see this one with like 532 greens and even some 450 blues and 650 reds and 405 purples. Everybody uses this same host. It's a cheap host, and that's why you only pay $10. And it's pretty simple. It runs on 2 AAA batteries. Those batteries are not included, but they go in positive and down, negative side up, and there's 2 of them. And definitely use laser safety glasses when you're using this. I would highly recommend it because that beam is invisible and you could accidentally bounce this laser off a reflective surface and have it hit your eye. And normally with any other laser you would react and you'd be able to close your eye because you can see the laser pointing at your eye. But with this one you won't even know it's hitting you in the eye, so there's just extra chance for eye damage. I would definitely recommend using safety glasses. This laser just has the one button on the side of it that you have to hold down to make the laser come on, and it unscrews in the middle, and that's where you insert the batteries. And like I said, there is no visible beam or dot on this one. It is completely invisible to the human eye. So this is where things become a bit tricky. I have a night vision camera, so I can actually test this out, but for any of you who buy this, if you don't have some sort of night vision camera, you won't really be able to test if your laser even works, and you'll never actually see it. So this is only really useful if you have some specific scientific use for it, or that currency thing I mentioned earlier, or if you have a night vision camera to see the beam and the dot. Now I am going to test this with my Laserbeam ALPM right now to get a reading on it. They rated it at 5 milliwatts, and it's looking like it's going to be about 20 milliwatts, so 4 times the advertised strength is pretty good. I'm not disappointed with that, but this is not a burning laser still because there is no focus feature, and I don't believe it's really strong enough either to burn anything. Now I have one other important safety tip for you guys. Leave the batteries out of this laser when you're not using it. Not only is that safe for like electrical reasons and because like batteries can sometimes corrode and decay and it could damage the laser, but if somebody was to pick this up not knowing that it has an invisible beam, they might try to use it, and if they don't see any beam or any light, they might aim it right at their eye to look inside there to see if there's any light, and they could end up really hurting themselves. So definitely smart to keep the batteries out of this one when you're not using it. Now I'm going to move on to the night vision mode right here on my camera to show you guys what this thing looks like, and this is in IR mode, so I am able to see infrared light. And one big thing, one kind of like big issue I'm noticing right now is that there is no dot. The dot is actually a large circle, and this thing's kind of coming off like a flashlight more than a laser. This thing's not really putting out a directed beam of light. And even when I'm about 6 inches away from the ground right here, the dot is still about the size of a quarter. So this thing's clearly not focused incorrectly, or the lens that they used isn't the right one or something. I don't know what's up. This thing's not even really a laser. It's more of just an IR flashlight. So Not very happy about that, and I'm going to kind of use this to move on to the reviewing aspect of this. This is already a laser pen that is very limited in its uses. There's not really anything you can do with it. You have to have something very specific in mind in order to really get any use out of this. And even then, you have to have some sort of night vision camera to even be able to see the beam and the dot and know that the laser is working. And all of that combined with the fact that this thing is not even putting out a laser beam and a dot, it's putting out like a flashlight kind of spread of light, and there's no concentration of a beam. And also the beam is not visible on IR either. I'm only able to see the dot, so I mean, this thing's just weak. It's not focused in, and even if it was, I'm not able to see the beam, so that would limit the uses even more. I'm not really going to give this one a good review because, I mean, it is nice for me to add the 980 to my collection and all, but I don't really have any use for this, and it's not even focused in correctly, so I'm not a fan of this one. I wouldn't recommend buying it unless you have some very specific use for it. Part of me almost feels like they don't put a lot of time and effort into that beam, and it's so spread out like that because they know that 90% of the people that buy this won't have a night vision camera to actually test it. So the people that buy it won't actually know that it's not a clear beam and it's not focused in correctly. So I don't know, that's just my take on it. Maybe it is useful for that currency thing I mentioned, but besides that, I can't really see many uses for this. So if you guys found this review helpful in any way at all, hit that like button down below. And if you guys are new to my channel, hit that subscribe button for a bunch more great laser pointer reviews just like this. And as always guys, thank you for watching from XM360.